Hey everybody, I am Tim Albright, and we are going to do a Sony PTZ event here on the launch platform, looking at how they're evolving with intelligent innovation, AI features and stuff like that. AI is really kind of evolving and changing how we capture content, how we share content. And that involves classrooms, that involves conference spaces, that involves broadcast. Broadcast is also very interesting nebulous term nowadays because a lot of folks that are in higher education as well as corporate are leveraging broadcast technologies. We can get into that some as well. We're going to explore really how Sony is really kind of continuing to innovate in this space, looking at their latest in PTZ technologies, as well as the next generation of auto framing, intelligent control, and really kind of looking at how they are able to be flexible regardless of what application they're using. With me, because I can't talk about that, is Ken Kobayashi. Ken, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you. Ken, actually, speaking of broadcast, Ken is in New York today at NAB in New York. He's taking a break from the show floor, so we appreciate his time. Really quickly, if you have never been on the launch platform, there's a couple of really cool features that are on this that I want you to make sure that you make use of. Number one is the networking feature. You can talk amongst yourselves, trade virtual business cards, trade whatever, but you can network just like you would on a typical show floor. The other part is the chat. Again, network and chat and talk back and forth. You can talk with us as well. Speaking of talking with us, you can put your questions into the Q&A section, and Ken will answer your questions. I will not. I will simply relay them to Ken because I, again, cannot answer anything when it comes to this except for the fact that P stands for pan, and T, I think, is tilt, and Z, I believe, is zoom. Also, there are going to be a number of polls throughout this, so you can take advantage of those as well. Ken, before we get started, as we're getting started here, when you look at this, and I have obviously I've been aware of Sony since I was conscious of electronics, I guess. Sony has a really long history, a legacy of imaging in the broadcast space. How have you guys been able to use that expertise in today's ecosystem, specifically when it comes to the PTZ ecosystem for the corporate as well as the education space?
In corporate and the education space, it is widely used for lecture capturing, conferencing, live streaming, the town hall event, which is as for event, there are the live audience and the audience in business locations, and it will bring the experience to the live experience and remote experience. Yeah.
All right. So when you look, silly question here, is there a difference between those two experiences, whether it's the live or the pre-recorded experience?
Yep. If the camera has really poor the image quality, there will be a great difference between live audience and the distance audience. But if the camera has really nice quality and has nice, for example, if the camera has great tracking technology and it will give a great live feel, even on a distant, even a remote attendance can feel almost like a live attendance. That's the power of the images.
Okay, so let's focus on that for a second, because one of the things that folks have talked about for the last couple of years, certainly since 21 and COVID, and that is meeting equity. Some people are tired of that term. Some people aren't. There is a lot of noise being made today about return to office, or a certain percentage of folks returning to office. There is still going to be some folks that are remote. Whether those folks are internal or external, you're still going to have remote participants. How then, you just said that though that folks can feel more engaged, more equitable to the meeting. How is that exactly?
Yeah, at the beginning of live streaming, especially at the beginning of COVID period, almost the live streaming was just the video from the far back of the classroom or far back of the the conference room, just static fixed angle of the video, and it was really boring and it is not engaging. But nowadays, we have the technology that camera can track presenter, or camera can switch based on the sound in the classroom, and it is more engaging. It is more it is, the keyword is live view.
Okay.
So yeah, the current the video in the classroom or in a conference room is more live view.
I do want to get into that because I saw this in action at IBC back in September in Amsterdam. You guys had a very large booth in one of the halls at IBC, and then you had a separate. We went upstairs, a separate little room where you were showing this off, and you had a gentleman who was acting as the presenter, acting as, let's say, the instructor, the professor in this case. And but I got to tell you something. I sat there for a good 10 minutes, right? And 100 years ago, I was a technical director, so I have a working knowledge at least. I may not be the greatest technical director in the world, but I understand kind of what you're looking for here. I couldn't tell how you were doing it, right? I like there was because years ago there was a fob, right? Whether that's an RF or an IR device that you would have put on a presenter, on an instructor. And that's how you were able to have a camera follow somebody, right? There's a physical thing. There was nothing there, right? There was none of that there. So how is Sony able to, number one, recognize the fact that there is somebody there and that is the subject of what we're shooting? And then I'm going to be careful here because it feels like the system is making artistic decisions. And that seems silly to say because it's an AI system, right? It's a machine making artistic decisions. So how are you guys able to make it seem like the system is making intelligent switching decisions?
Yeah, still under development, and we don't want to say it is already perfect. But yeah, we added third eye. Actually, we added third camera. There are two AI cameras on the ground, and two cameras are capturing the subject, and third camera is actually understanding which cameras are suitable to capture that subject.
Yeah.
And AI is analyzing the angle of view, and the decision is based on the accumulated knowledge, accumulated database. So it is, the learning, the knowledge that we inputted into the AI, which angle, which framing is suitable, beautiful for switching in that occasion. So there are a lot of room to judge which camera to choose in that occasion. So so it is still a learning curve, which camera to pick up by AI decision, but it is a good starting point that the camera actually in that demonstration, the switcher side actually picked up automatically which the camera source to choose. But yeah, this is another our challenge to expand AI usage to a solution. Yeah.
Well, let's talk for a second about some other areas that you've got, the ones that you can, obviously, certainly Sony, just like other manufacturers, that you have a roadmap. Part of that roadmap is public. Part of that roadmap you guys are still working on. So what are you guys working on now when it comes to intelligent PTZ that you can talk about?
It's hard to answer in short. A lot of secret. But
here's the thing,
we are working
do not
on.
Get either one in trouble. Okay?
We are working on something to follow non-human subject, because most of the PTZ cameras are designed to follow human subject, but we are now starting to follow non-human subject like basketball or some subject. And yeah, soon but not least, I mean, yeah, we can show something exciting. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. When you talk about intelligent innovation, which is a term that Sony has used for a minute here, what does that mean to you when it comes to AV managers, IT managers, and really how does that impact them on their day-to-day jobs?
Yeah, it depends on how that AI use. I mean, if for example, AI manager use the AI to, for example, reduce the resources. For example, if the AI manager use the AI to reduce for example, to use AI or AI operated camera, that will reduce the number of camera operator. That is a cost saving. On the other hand, if some the creator, creator use sorry,
You're fine.
IT manager. Yeah, if IT manager use IT manager create. So, for example, sorry, I couldn't hit upon get example for IT managers case, but yeah, yeah. If we use AI for using cost saving, time saving, it is for cut something, but AI is sometimes safe, not support, creating something more, effective, useful. For example, focus assisting technology is is for creating more, richer contents. That is, work for efficiency. For more efficiency, for less for less investment, or for more outcomes. Well, it depends on how we input how we use AI. So it depends on the purpose we use AI.
A couple of questions on that, because you again, when I saw the IBC, that was one of the things that you guys talked about was the efficiency, right? Is you're saving on person power, not needing a camera operator, maybe not even needing a technical director. Certainly that has applications in like house of worship that leans primarily on volunteers. Certainly that has applications in higher education where you're going to have a small technical team, right? And that team has gotten smaller over the last 15, 20 years. And you're going to lean on student workers. Those student workers may or may not have skills, a skill set when it comes to running a camera or being a technical director. Okay, so understand that the cost efficiencies there, understand that the people power efficiencies there. Just like a brand new camera operator or a brand new volunteer, you need to train that system not just on how to do it, but on your own style, right? The Notre Dame is going to have a different aesthetic, a different shooting style than the University of Alabama, which is going to have a totally different style than the University of Georgia. How are we training the system? How are we going to make sure that yes, the AI system is going to be able to do the job and run the camera, but how are we going to be able to make sure that we're training it in our own style?
Was using AI?
System. Yep. So what was the last thing you heard, Ken?
I was asking to you by using AI.
Yeah, by using AI. So how do we train our system, right? On how do we train the system to make sure that it shoots like us?
That's a good point. Hmm, yeah, that's well. Sorry, it's hard to answer.
That's all right. All right, let's move on to the next thing. When you look at how you are taking your existing PTZ lineup and you're putting AI into it, how are you kind of combining those two to make sure that you're leveraging AI to the best of its abilities when it comes to your PTZ line of cameras?
Could you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah. So how is Sony leveraging AI in their PTZ, their entire PTZ lineup of cameras?
We have two different type of the PTZs, a broadcast level of the BOC lineup. BOC camera is mainly used for broadcasters, household worship, and event production, which has a larger image sensors and gen lock. And we have another lineup, SRG lineup, which is mainly used for corporate education, and both cameras has auto framing technologies, PTZ auto framing functions, multi-person framing mode, and face registration mode. But BOC cameras, high-end cameras, has more accurate pan tilt zoom mechanism and accurate auto-focusing technologies that allows even accurate tracking capabilities for sports shooting and a professional broadcast shooting. Yeah.
All right. When you look at your auto framing and maybe being able to take these subjects and really kind of hone in on them, talk about how that compares to, let's say, earlier auto tracking features.
In earlier auto tracking, it was just like single person tracking, one person tracking from left to right. But at this moment, we have up to 8-person multi-person framing,
Okay.
and also at first at early stage of old framing old tracking, the AI tracking camera reacted too sharply to unnecessary small movements. For example, if the subject slightly wave or swayed a little bit, the camera also followed that unnecessary movement, and the frame shaked a little bit, and a viewer got seasick. But now our camera can recognize the skeletons of the subject and understand the core of the body. And even though the head moves, our camera understands the core of the body don't move, even though the head moves and stands still. So the framing quality improved a lot. So that's a big difference between the old tracking and the tracking nowadays.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about earlier with the old tracking system. Was pretty much you put on some sort of lanyard or put on some sort of device, and it really did track wherever that device was. Reminder, go ahead and put any questions you have for Ken in the Q&A section. And the folks are also going to put up some polls here now and then. Make sure you answer those as well. Ken, when you look at the automated shooting, you put a little bit of that as well. When you talk about the skeleton there, but also when it comes to the switching aspect, how has Sony been able to implement not just the back and forth, but the full PTZ, the full pan tilt zoom, is as smooth as possible?
Sorry. Could you say that again?
Yeah. How has Sony what has Sony implemented to ensure that the pan, the tilt, and the zoom, all those movements are as smooth as possible?
Mm. Sorry, sorry, I don't understand the question. Sorry.
That's all right. We'll keep moving on them. When you look at auto framing, what are one or two of the next gen, let's call it, AI innovation in Sony's PTZ cameras that have the biggest impact on production, whether that's higher education production, corporate production, or broadcast?
I think that would be some sort of switching features. I mean, single camera solution. As a single camera solution, we have already has great tracking capabilities, but with using multiple cameras, we need some more interaction between cameras, and need to have some more switching capabilities between cameras without using any other external devices. Maybe just communicating between AI cameras is needed, we think. So if we can do just by cameras, that would be ideal, for some.
Very cool. You mentioned before the eight-person multi-person framing aspect of that. I'm assuming then that the eight people right now, 8-person is the limit that we've got. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
All right. When you look at that, is that best used in a conference setting? Is it best used in a broadcast studio setting, classroom setting? How do you see that best being used?
Yeah, best use cases for talk show or stage performance, the panel on the stage, and conference setting. When there is a the massive ceremony on the stage, on the center of the stage, and then the first guest shows up, and the camera adjusts the framing for 2. Then the second guest shows up, camera adjusts framing for 3. Then something like that. Yeah.
And so, how does the system differentiate between guest 1, guest 2, guest 3, and the host, who you would expect that you would want to make sure that you're highlighting them as they're asking the questions, and then coming over to the guest? How does it differentiate between those different players?
At this moment, the camera just equally include those number of subject in the frame. So if there are many people, the camera just zoom out to keep the number those number of frames. So just zoom out, and if they come closer, camera will zoom in to keep tightly keep for example, if there are 4 of them tightly in the frame, so there are room to improve some more intelligence, some more more effective framing in the future, even with multi-person framing.
Okay. When you look at multi-person framing, easy for me to say, how does the system then vary depending on when you have one camera, which is what I'm assuming you just described there, where it kind of comes out and makes sure that everybody's in the frame, versus a multi-camera with that type of framing? How does it juggle those two, juggle the technology, the multi-frame technology, with having multiple cameras available to it?
If there are enough room and budget to have multiple cameras, it works. Multiple cameras. But if there are only one camera and need to adjust the framing, multi-person framing is really effective, and it's lively adjusting the framing without any interaction by operators, and it's really effective.
Very cool. When you look at this and you look at kind of where AI is headed and where AI is today, some folks, there are some organizations that are still a little bit frightened of AI. There are policies, there are things of that nature. When you're talking to an IT director or an AV user, what are some of the things you guys are talking about to, I'm not going to say you talk them into it, but at least assuage some of the fears over AI and AI taking over?
Well, this is frequently asked question, and we don't have any concrete answers, and we carefully discuss with customers, but we don't want to insist that AI is perfect and it's not completely taking over a human's job, and AI is primary purposed to support humans' job, and can let people to concentrate more on other things. So yeah, our goal to implement AI is to let people to concentrate more on other things, to free from something currently people is taking time. I mean,
well, lean on that for a second, Ken, because there's a couple follow-ups to that, but lean in on that. When you say AI does certainly frees us to do other things, what other things, when it comes to whether that's a presentation or it's a production, are we looking at to hone in on and make sure that we have the margin, the ability to really kind of focus on that and not concern ourselves with switching or framing a shot for a video conference?
Could you say that again?
Yeah. So what areas, when you're talking to folks and you're saying, what, AI is not going to take your job, it's simply going to free you up to do other things. What are some of those other things that you guys are talking about?
Okay. For example, the camera operator case,
Yep.
You're using iMac. For the picture-in-picture, you need to keep the presenter in the center of the frame, and you need to keep that subject in the center of the frame all the time, even though he is magnified in the frame of the big screen. So it is really, really tough to keep him in the center of the frame and to follow that person all the time for a camera operator. But AI tracking will ease that somewhat stressful camera work. So that is part of the way the AI can save people.
Okay. All right. A number of years ago, good Lord, this is more than like 20 years ago, there was a technology that came out. They were robotic cameras, right? Specifically in broadcast, but it was another technological advancement that folks were freaked out about, and freaked out about them taking their jobs. Talk for a second about that technical evolution and how we have now come to accept it, especially in the broadcast realm, right? Certainly folks aren't putting robotic cameras in their conference rooms, but talk about that again, worry, that concern, and how that's played out and evolved versus we're at the start of the AI part of that right now, and how we can equate the two, where it wasn't doom and gloom, it wasn't the end of camera people to begin with, and so how AI might track along those same that same trail that the robotic cameras took 25 years ago.
Oh, good question. Well, it's hard to predict what comes in
it is,
25 years.
That is 100% fair. 100% fair. But you understand my equivalence, right? You understand the question, because again, 25 years ago, I mean, good Lord, there were folks up in arms, and they were marching and strikes and stuff like that, and contract negotiations with the broadcasters, because people were freaked out about it taking their jobs. And there was certainly a small percentage, because if you were a broadcast facility that were running 5 camera people, well, suddenly you only need 1 or 2, right, to run the same amount of cameras. that is going to happen here with AI. However, just to your point, that there are other areas that we can hone in on and focus. And now, just like with other aspects of AI, I write a lot, so I can leverage AI to help me with outlining and stuff like that, and then I can do the things that I'm really good at. Right. Same thing here is how do you see this kind of playing out?
Yeah, at this moment, AI camera evolution is based on the evolution of motion sensing. I think so. The more accurate analysis, more accurate, understanding of human movement, more accurate predictive human movement. But in the future, maybe in addition to just analyzing human, physical movement, maybe it will be added the deep analysis of something emotional thing, I believe. That is human facial expression or something. So based, if the subject had some facial expression changes, the camera, will zoom in to that subject, slowly or something. It is not, physical, movement, but camera understand it is really, touching moment or something. So AI will learn something other than just moving, other than the AI will be more like intelligent, truly intelligent, and more like well, it sounds pity, but understand more, sense of humanity or yeah.
No, it doesn't sound silly at all. I understand what you're saying, and I dig it. Really, a quick reminder: there is a Q&A section. Feel free to fill that out and ask any questions you want. Ken will be the one answering it, not me. There's also several polls. Please take those as well. Speaking of Q&A, we've got somebody, Paul Richards, asking, how do you feel about AI responsibility?
Yeah, it is hard to predict. Once implement AI, how AI, actually, evolve, how AI, output in the future. But at least, especially manufacturer need to, follow and, follow up or, need some workaround after implementing it into their product or services. For example, yeah, the AI is really a broad meaning, but from a manufacturer standpoint, if for example, AI technology for the content creation, is implemented, we need to be responsible. What will be created by our AI, and be responsible that it will not be violate any ethical or legal violations or something. So we need to monitor how our AI is acting in the market even after releasing in the market or something. So we need to it is not the goal when we release it to the market. We need to follow, we need to even grow with our product even after releasing it to the market. That's the responsibility of the manufacturer standpoint. Sorry, it is a really broad question, and I just can answer from a manufacturer standpoint. So.
No, you did fine. I want to bring something up though that you talked about a couple minutes ago, and that is the AI learning, right? There was one of the very first, let's say, iterations of AI in the last 20 years was Google. Google had a AI system that they leveraged, and it was to, I think one of the very first ones they did was to analyze all the videos on YouTube and point out the ones that had cats. If I'm not mistaken, they wrote a white paper on, or not white paper. They did a paper on it. I think it's called the cat paper. You can look it up. It's really it's interesting and fascinating. Besides the fact that it's cats and there's a whole long history with the internet and cats, but that's beside the point. The system though was trained, right? There was a feedback loop of oh yes, this and then that. How are we training? How are you training? How is Sony training your AI system to say this is a good shot, this is not a good shot, this is what I'm talking about when as you mentioned, the presenter is getting emotional, right? So you might want to do a slow zoom in, or the presenter is getting excited, so you might want to do a zoom out. What is that training feedback loop look like?
Perfect. I'll be right there.
How to answer?
Well, there's a couple ways. Number one, you can tell me
Yeah.
that both of us will get sued because there's an NDA in place, and that's fine if that's the answer. However, if there is something you can talk about publicly, that would be really interesting.
So I can't answer.
That's all right. That's all right. I appreciate it. Let's take a look. A couple more questions, really, before I let you get out of here. When you look at how Sony cameras support the hybrid environments, right, the education or the corporate, you got both in-room and remote participants. They both need equal attention. How does Sony do that? How does Sony provide that meeting equity?
Well, the Sony is really good at the motion sensing, so we are trying to utilize our motion sensing technologies, and that is, to capture live, feel, beautiful pictures as much as possible, and utilizing, old framing, especially tighter shot is great live view. And also we have a nice the partner which is called rAVe, who has a sound-based control switching system. So with our partners, we can switch our cameras based on the sound, and in room based on in-room sound, we can switch the sound. So from remote participants, we can deliver the really tight, close videos, almost like they feel like they are in the same room as the live participant. So that is our the goal. Yeah.
All right. Again, if you've got any questions for Ken, you can answer it in the Q&A or type it in the Q&A section, and also answer the polls. We have another question from Matthew Davis. How do you see modern and future producers interfacing with the AI in the cameras? How do you see workflows and more, as the traditional controllers aren't built with this in mind?
Good question. Good questions. Yeah, good questions. Well, it's hard to answer in an instant.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
But how do you think that producers today, and as well as next year and 5 years, how are they going to interact with AI systems? Are they going to type in a list of requirements? They're going to type in a shot sheet? How do you see them interfacing with AI?
Yeah. Current the system, especially including camera, as mostly include something physical button and joystick, but in the future system, it will be more intuitive, or even with less interaction, including AI. So it will be more like, more, I don't know. For example, it should be more intuitive. Just um, on the touch screen, just swipe a little bit. The camera, follows that subject. They are always on the sub screen on the podium, and once the teacher just top students face on the sub screen, just the camera start following that student, and the recording system start recording something more like uh, intuitive or interactive system or something like that. Sorry, it's too vague, but
No, I got you. I got you. One of the things that I do want to talk about, we kind of hit this a bit when we talk about the legacy of Sony, and that is the PTZs is what we started talking about here, and I'm going to pull on that for a second. Sony has technology built into several of their other cameras that have auto tracking, that have auto focus and stuff like that. Where do you see kind of let's call it the technology flow? And what I mean by that is, oh, we've got this technology in this camera, or this technology in this set of this line of cameras. We should pull that technology and put it over here, and oh, we're doing that over here. Do you just see this kind of this ocean of technology flowing back and forth, or is there one set of category that's driving this AI innovation, and that's kind of pushing the AI innovation downstream to all the other categories of cameras you guys do?
actually we're trying to cross apply, or trying to leverage all the AI benefits into multiple categories. That's our Sony's trial. There are, it's always happening to Sony. There are nice technologies, within the Sony, but only limited, products and limited solutions can utilize that technology. But recently, Sony is trying to utilize our accumulated AI technology within Sony to utilize to broad Sony solutions from electronics, gaming, mobilities, cars, everything, and try to accumulate something other insight from all the products again. Then try to re-establish the next level AI. So that's gonna be a new cycle for better AI technology. So we're trying to leverage, not just focusing on certain categories.
All right, very good. Ken, before I let you get out of here, I do have a kind of an overarching question. When you look at broadcast technology and the broadcast level of gear that we're talking about here, why do you think that the corporate level and the education, especially higher education, have started pulling on and leveraging the broadcast level tech that's out there today, as opposed to, let's say, 10 years ago? It was available, right? It certainly, you guys have been making cameras, broadcast cameras for 50 years. So why now is the corporate customer and the higher ed space suddenly leveraging the broadcast technology?
Okay, I think mainly three reasons. First one is the cost of those equipments, decreased. Maybe 10 years ago, those equipment for broadcasters, sky high, but now it's relatively, affordable for, schools and, corporate. The second one, the interface is, these equipment for broadcasters were a little bit, isolated from, corporate in the education. For example, sometimes even some specific the BNC terminals are used for only for broadcasters, but nowadays HDMI terminal, USB terminals, most of the terminals and signals are commonly used from broadcast to sometimes consumer side. So such the connectivity makes enable to use the broadcast equipment for every industry. The third one is, I think, the requirements from the AV industry is getting high. As I said in the middle, at the beginning of COVID period, the many of the streaming was just boring, the fixed wide angle shot, but it's becoming more actively tight shot, multiple camera switching, and many people are getting used to full HD or even 4K videos. Many people are now expecting more engaging, exciting content, even for schools and corporate. That's why these people are now using more like broadcast level equipment. Yeah, these three, I think.
No, it makes complete sense. And again, you guys, not only is it the cost, but it's also the ease of use. And part of that ease of use are a lot of these AI tools. So, all right. Well, I appreciate it, Ken. Ken Kobayashi from Sony. We're going to let him get back to NAB New York. We appreciate his time. If you've got any questions, go ahead and shoot those our way, and we will get them to Ken to answer offline. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Tim Albright for the launch team, for the rAVe team, and for AV Nation. We will see you on the next one.